We're here today to discuss a formal assessment that was completed on Danny by request of his fourth grade teacher. And the formal assessment includes a measurement of his IQ and his achievement and his adaptive behavior skills, as well as his phonological processes. And I'm going to describe to you or summarize to you what that assessment revealed to us about the things that Danny needs to work on, and whether or not he qualifies for under a specific learning disability or to receive special education services, which is one of the things that we as a team will decide. But you need to understand what we found in this formal assessment. When he was given the Reynolds intelligence test, it was found that his nonverbal score of what he can actually understand had an index score of 97, and that was in the 42nd percentile, which means 48% or 58% of the students his same age can perform better than him and would score higher on this assessment. The verbal index on the Reynolds ranked him in the 9th percentile, which means 91% of the students would perform better than him. So his verbal reasoning is not as good as his nonverbal, which means that he is understanding more than he can actually verbalize. And so we know that those two ways of communication can be combined to identify a person's IQ, which that fell into the 87 index score of 87 in the 19th percentile, which means that 81% of the students in his age group would have scored higher than him. So that is not an extremely low average, but just a low average in the verbal and the composite index, both is how he scored on that assessment. We give them the achievement test. In this case, he was given the Woodcock-Johnson. It is broken down into several areas pertaining to reading and math and writing and the fluency of all of those things. And he scored in the well below average in several categories of basic reading, reading fluency, letter ID, passage comprehension, and oral reading skills, as well as sentence writing fluency. So these are the things that he would need to work on in the class and in special education services. He had a low average score in written expression and word attack skills and sentence writing fluency, which means those would be his strengths because he scored higher in those areas. In basic reading skill, he had a standard score of 68 as compared to word attack skills, he had an 83. So he was within his lowest score in anything was letter word identification. And so he scored from a 59 to a 92. So there was a wide range of scores in those different areas, but he definitely has some things in the area of achievement and some gaps in his achievement that he needs to work on. The next test that was given was the wide range achievement test. It measures word reading, spelling, and math computations. He scored 81 in math computations and 72 in spelling, and word reading he scored 60. So we have a below average, a low average, and a well below average. So I would say from these two tests so far that his strengths would be writing and math computations. And next we gave him the gray oral reading test, and that measures reading rate, fluency, and accuracy, as well as comprehension. He scored the highest in comprehension, and we see that matches what he was, the area of in the Woodcock-Johnson. He scored below average, but it wasn't well below average. And all of these, the other areas on the gray oral reading test, he did score well below average, with his lowest two scores being in rate and fluency. So sometimes we need to back up to those that phonemic awareness and how to break words down into different sounds, and how to combine those back together in order for him to be able to sound out a word that he doesn't know. The next area of testing that they are given concerns their behavior. They're given the BASC, which stands for Behavior Assessment System for Children, and the parents are given one set of questions, and the teacher is given the same questions, and they both their answers are compiled to rate what is happening at school and to find out if the parents are seeing that at home. And in the areas he had significant delays were atypical behaviors, which are some immature behavior, withdrawal, and learning problems. So what we see in that is that when he doesn't understand, he withdraws, or when he's upset, he goes to be by himself. Then the at-risk behaviors were attention problems, conduct, and social skills and study skills. So a lot of times what we see is students, their attention span does not coincide with the amount of attention that it takes to follow instructions. So the teacher as well as the parents both say that he has issues with following instructions. If there's more than one step to following those instructions, then he's really in trouble. Also, he was given the test of auditory processing skills, which allows them to identify word pairs which are alike or not alike. Has to do with sounding out words and putting all those sounds together to combine to make one word, and then also taking a word and breaking it down into sounds, as well as rhyming words. So there's a range of scores from 7 to 13, and he scored a 10, which is right in the middle. So we use that to determine if there's any form of dyslexia or any other auditory processing disorders. So to summarize, he does qualify in the area of reading, math, and writing for a significant specified learning disorder or disability, and we are going to meet as a team to decide the number of hours he should receive support from special education services. Thank you.